One of the most embarrassing moments on Dance with the Stars for me was in my very first season, my second dance. This is a time when I'm like, this is my chance. I'm going to show what I got. Here we go. This is my first time on TV, doing this. And I dropped my partner, Jenny Garth, on live television, which dropping your partner and falling on live television. And technically I slipped on her dress, so, but it was like, the worst thing. But the good thing about that is I got that out of the way real quick. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. So it's only uphill from, it's only up from here. I think Amy Purdy was incredible, obviously being a Paralympian and working with prosthetics. She was incredible. But also Bindi Irwin, I think, she just kind of walked in the room and was like, and just got off a hike with muddy boots, and then she was phenomenal. She was fantastic. And also Kelly Pickler, she was a big surprise as well, where no dance training, nothing, and she just had the most extraordinary feet and beautiful extension, and yeah, it was awesome. It depends. That's what's so hard about it, right? There's different variables of what you consider to be the best. I think natural ability. I mean, Jordan Fisher was super, great and very natural, and Nicole Scherzinger, obviously. And there's some other people who are better in other ways. You know what I mean? So that's a tough one. I don't know. And also, out of 30 seasons, it's over 350 people or something, and I'm like, very hard to choose. But I'll say that one just very memorable moment was when I danced the freestyle with Kelly Pickler, just because that was a dance that was sort of a risk, I was like, let's do something different from everybody else. It was the first year they were doing supersized freestyles, and everybody was doing more and more and more. And I was like, you know what, let's just do a little dance with you and I with minimal lighting, minimal anything. And it just, it turned out to be, one of those, a special moment that just was a moment. And yeah, super, super happy about that. But there, honestly, I could give you 20 of them, because there's one incredible moment every season. I would say scared me, but I'll say that, Len and I would have some fun moments together, where for instance, Kelly Pickler, Bruno and Carrie Ann would give us a 10, and then would give us a 6. And I was like, okay, all right. But it's interesting though, because even in that moment, you're kind of like, oh, come on, man, what's going on? But then in the hindsight, you realize actually, that's actually good. I think that if you feel good about your dance and you did a great job, and if a judge doesn't agree, then the audience seems they get behind you, So in some weird ways, I'm like, thanks, Len. I saw him in the hallway a week before, and he was like, oh, I'd love to see a coup de pique, in this paso doble. And I'm like, oh, great. I'll incorporate that in this dance. Sure. I'm like, I think I have an in, I think I'm like, so I do the dance. I incorporate these moves that he wanted to see. And he was like, oh, I didn't like it because all the lights and all the graphics and all these things and the pitch podge. And I was like, come on, bro. It almost reminds me of my driving instructor when I was trying to get my driver's license. He was like, and I drove in England, so my driving instructor was British, and he was like, all right, mate, turn left. And I was like, all right, turned. And he's like, well, you just failed your test. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're not supposed to turn left. I was like, but you told me to turn left. I would say if I was still in there, it would be me for sure. And it's so much so that some of them would be like, Derek, get out of my rehearsal room, get out of here. I would be climbing on rafters, spying on them and just causing havoc. So